No one at Falcon Ridge Air Base remembered her name. To most, she was just the cleaner, the woman in plain sneakers and a faded denim jacket who swept the hangars and refilled the vending machines. Her real name was Grace Halston, 43, widowed, soft-spoken, and she never asked for more than a quiet place to work and a sky to look up to. She was there every morning before the sun cracked the clouds, humming old Billie Holiday tunes under her breath, mopping hangar floors that echoed with the boots of men half her age. The recruits barely noticed her. After all, they were future fighter pilots, training to tame thunder and steel. She was just background noise. But every now and then, when no one was watching, Grace would stop by the edge of the runway and watch the F-22 Raptors scream into the heavens. Her eyes would follow them like they were angels. "Do you like jets or something?" one cadet had once scoffed, laughing with his friends. "You think cleaning up after pilots makes you one?" They'd all laughed. She just smiled and returned to her cart. The truth no one knew. Grace Halston had once been one of the best aviation students in the country. A scholarship student at MIT, a simulator champion, and a hopeful candidate for the Air Force. But then came the car crash. Her fiancé, Michael, a pilot himself, died on impact. Grace survived, but something inside her didn't. She walked away from the world of flight, buried her dreams, and took quiet jobs to pay bills and stay close to the only thing that still made her heart flutter, jets. One spring, Falcon Ridge launched a special, Pilot for a Day, civilian outreach program. Grace applied. Not as a cleaner, but as herself. She didn't list her past accolades. She just said she loved planes. But when the selection committee saw her application, they chuckled. "She's a janitor," someone scoffed. "We can't have her in a cockpit." Without a word, Grace was removed from the list. That morning, as she arrived to find her name missing from the rosters and her badge access revoked from the simulator wing, she didn't protest. She just quietly returned to the hangars, wiping sweat from her brow and ignoring the sting in her chest. But fate doesn't forget those who love with quiet devotion. One day, disaster struck. A surprise mechanical failure during a solo flight drill caused an F-22 to crash land just beyond the base perimeter. The pilot ejected safely, but the damaged aircraft, miraculously still functional, needed to be retrieved before a storm rolled in. But no senior pilot was available. The storm was coming fast. Time was running out. Panic spread across the base. That's when Grace walked into the command office, calm as the eye of a storm. "I can bring her in," she said. The officers stared. "Ma'am, this isn't a game. That's a $150 million aircraft." "I know," she said quietly, laying down a laminated certification from 15 years ago, outdated, sure, but official. She also had a logbook, worn with time, filled with hours of training and notes scribbled in her late fiancé's handwriting. Desperation made people listen. Protocol bent beneath pressure. With hearts in their throats and skeptics lining the tower windows, they cleared the airstrip. Then, beneath a sky splitting with thunder, the hangar doors opened, and Grace Halston stepped into the cockpit of the downed F-22 like it was a home she'd quietly longed for all her life. She flew. Not with the rigid, practiced sharpness of military youth, but with the grace of someone who knew the soul of the aircraft. She felt every vibration like a heartbeat, read every instrument like an old friend, and guided the damaged Raptor through crosswinds and lightning bolts with the precision of a symphony conductor. As the landing gears touched down and the tires screeched safely onto the Falcon Ridge runway, the crowd that once mocked her stood in stunned silence. Then someone clapped. Then another. And soon, the entire base was cheering. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she climbed out of the cockpit. Not from pride, but release. For 15 years, she had buried her love beneath grief and cleaning rags. But in one miraculous flight, she honored both her late fiancé's memory and the fire that had always burned within her. In the days that followed, everything changed. The base commander personally apologized for the way she'd been treated. Her story hit local news, then national. Emails from aerospace companies poured in. MIT invited her to speak. She politely declined most interviews, except one where she simply said, "I never needed recognition. I just wanted to touch the sky again." Grace was offered a job as a simulator instructor at the same base that once turned her away. The cadets who had laughed now lined up for her guidance. And every afternoon, after lessons ended, Grace would walk to the runway's edge, eyes to the sky. Not as a cleaner. Not as a forgotten woman. But as a reminder to everyone watching that sometimes, the quietest souls carry the loudest dreams. Because it's not the uniform that makes a pilot. It's the heart. And Grace Halston's heart. It flew higher than any jet ever could.